Hi everyone, in today's I See Melanie video, I'm going to be talking about some of the TYD SDCC content that's come out over the past day or so. I haven't yet watched the panels for Dead City and Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, but I have seen the teaser, the trailer, and the first 10 minutes of those shows. Most of you know that I'm a big The Walking Dead fan. I have seen every iteration of The Walking Dead minus Fear of the Walking Dead and World Beyond. I just had no desire to watch Fear of the Walking Dead when it came out, and I knew it just went downhill every year basically, and I did not feel like watching Teeny Boppers on The World Beyond. I watched Tales and it wasn't very good, but you know I love The Ones Who Live, and I really enjoyed the Daryl Dixon show, and I watched Dead City. So let's start off with that, Dead City. When I heard that Maggie and Negan were going to have a show back, 2 years ago, I was like, why are these two going to be together? They obviously are very adversarial, especially Maggie on Maggie's end. And like, what is the point in this? But I knew I was going to watch it, and I did watch it. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel rah-rah about it, but it was okay. So as you know, last year, Herschel was missing, and she basically traded Negan to get Herschel, and he felt betrayed, and then Herschel was mad at his mom because basically her entire identity was hating Negan, and it was negative on Herschel, so she goes back to New York to save him. But he's there, and now he's like been appointed the head guy of that community and stuff. Basically, I haven't watched it since it aired, so I think I got the gist of it though. Anyway, so the trailer came out, and so we do see Maggie back in New York saying that she has to go back there, and she's making her way there. And there, of course, it's a teaser, so there's not really much. It's very short, and they make things deliberately ambiguous. It makes sense. And so we see her trekking back to New York, and we see Negan is there, and he's got a new Lucille. And, I guess he's running the show there. So I have a few thoughts. One thing about Dead City, I know it's set in New York, but a lot of the stuff last year was shot in New Jersey. And I believe this year a lot of things were shot in the Boston area. As somebody who goes to New York pretty often and who is very familiar with the landscape of the place, in particular Manhattan, it was very easy to tell that nothing was actually shot in Manhattan, which of course it's going to be difficult to shoot there and have the place set up in a post-apocalyptic, grungy setting. So it makes sense, but it did kind of take things away, for me personally. And also, I feel as though the story is just a merry-go-round with Negan and Maggie hating on each other and being adversarial, because at the end of the main series, they came to an understanding that they can coexist together, but they're not going to be friends, and she's not going to trust him 100%, which makes total sense. And so to have the happenings of season 1 of Dead City happen, and then now she's going back to find him, it's just oh my gosh. I feel as though Herschel is a bit of an audience surrogate, because I feel like him, it's Maggie, your entire identity is hating Negan. It's not interesting. So yeah, and also another thing too, I knew that Lucille 2.0 was coming back. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, what if Maggie sees Negan with this weapon, this terrible weapon? And this is my thing. I think in the zombie apocalypse, you'll have your gun if you have one, and if you've got bullets and gunpowder or whatever it takes for a gun, that's good. But I do think it's very important to have a weapon that's sustainable in that way, right? Unless it breaks, but a weapon that you can use over and over again. Because even with Daryl's crossbow, the arrows, some of them broke, as we saw in the main show, and you can run out of them, right? So if you got a bat, if you got Michonne's sword, that's good forever, basically. So I see a lot of people saying, what if Maggie's triggered and maybe she doesn't want to help Negan if she sees a weapon very similar to the weapon that killed her husband? And this is my take on it. I'm like, you know what? She's gonna have to suck it up. I'm sorry. If that is his weapon that he's branded, that he's able to utilize for killing people if he needs to, or killing walkers, let him use it. Like, I don't think there should be such an attachment or such a connection to a weapon. The weapon is just an implement to get the job done. Yes, it killed your husband, or something like it killed your husband, but when you think about it, Michonne's sword killed Reg, right? And we weren't as close to Reg as we are to the other people, but we loved Reg. Everyone liked Reg. We didn't want him to die, but Pete got Michonne's sword and killed him. So, and Michonne still used her sword, and as she should. Like, why should she get rid of it? So I don't really care if Maggie sees Negan with that. Also, what's up with Negan's wife and his son? I really did not like how she was just mentioned that she got abused somewhere and she took off to a different state. I forgot which one, but like, I didn't really like that. And also, I'm not really a fan of, Negan is like this reformed guy who's taking care of this kid, the girl. I think he revealed that he killed her father as a way to get her to leave him. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't mind children in shows, but like, I don't know. If it was his son, it would be different if we had a kid following him. But it's like, do we need to have him with a child? And also my thoughts on Negan in general. I know a lot of people hate Negan through and through. And I hated him at the end of season 6, 7, and 8. I feel now, okay, they live in a different society than us, thankfully. We don't live in a society like that. He was imprisoned. He paid his debt to society by doing that. He has shown that he is not that terrible person anymore. So I don't think that Negan is deserving of all sorts of hatred and bad feelings and bad treatment. I don't think that. Like, he's not my favorite character by any stretch. But this grudge that Maggie still has on him for those bad things, it's like, I know that she didn't have much of a say because Rick and Michonne, decided what they decided, but Herschel wasn't even born when that happened, and Herschel is now 16 years old. They live in a different world. It's time to move on, because honestly, I think Maggie is probably one of the most stubborn characters of the entire show. That's dead safe. So again, I'll watch it. I'm not like super excited about it, but I will watch it when it does come out. Now let's talk about Daryl Dixon. You know what's so funny too? Okay, so my favorite characters of TYD are Rick, Michonne, Daryl, and Carol. Rick and Michonne are basically tied at number 1, and Daryl is next, and he's not that far off. And then Carol, I kind of go back and forth with her. She was basically, like, she and Daryl for a while were kind of interchangeable with me in terms of their ranking. But I was just watching some episodes from season 4 and 5 a few months ago, and some of the things that Carol did were not cool. Like, I thought they were cool back then. Like, I thought she was efficient when she killed David and Karen and David. And I thought it was kind of funny when she spooked Sam about what would happen to him if he went outside. But in hindsight now, I think the killing part was terrible. And I also think the way she taunted that poor, coddled, sheltered boy was completely uncalled for. And that ultimately kind of led to his whole family being killed. And I wasn't a fan of Jesse's, but she didn't deserve to die. And those kids, they didn't have, anyway, sidebar. Anyway, I say all that to say I'm excited to watch them in the show. Like, even like last year when it was just Daryl, I knew I was gonna watch it and I'd like it, but I wasn't excited for it. Like, I didn't even watch the trailer or anything. So, but I did watch it every Sunday. I love Daryl. I love seeing Paris. I love seeing those weird, heated walkers. I liked Isabel quite a lot. I thought she was a very interesting character. I love seeing the night when the world fell in Paris. That was so cool. And I actually kind of like Laurent. I usually don't like children in serious shows that are based around adults, but I actually kind of do like Laurent, even though he's, a very coddled young boy. He's a sweetheart, and I understand why he's like that, so I didn't mind him. I don't mind him. And one thing I knew going into the show, that I would just need to understand that Daryl plucked himself out of Virginia and ended up across the ocean in France. At first, I was like, how the hell did he get there? we saw the explanation about how he was shipped off there and stuff, and I knew I just had to accept it, because if I didn't accept it, then I wouldn't enjoy the show. But the idea that Carol got to Paris in that rinky-dink plane with that guy who I'm pretty sure was on 90210 when I used to watch that like 10 plus years ago, that is a little far-fetched. Like, that little cheap-ass plane all the way across the ocean. I don't think that would even, you know what, I don't know about the mileage of a plane that small. I don't know if they can get there today in like proper conditions, but I'll accept it because I just have to. In the trailer, we see Isabel and Daryl talking, and of course, the whole time, like last year, everyone was trying to make him stay. And so she says, you know, a change of scenery would be good. And we know, because spoiler alert, we know that it's been renewed for a third season, and the rumor is, or maybe it was confirmed in the panel, they're shooting it in Spain, so he ain't going back to the US. But even though he did mention to Laurent in the trailer that, you know, there was talk of the three of them going back to the US. But, you know, that's not happening. And we see that he is in prison for a bit. There's a bit of a melee in the castle. We see Daryl fighting to get out of some kind of imprisonment that he's in. And he has the flail. I love his flail. It's so cool. And so he's getting out. And eventually we see Carol in a European setting. So she's there, and the ending shot is Daryl. And in the background, all unfocused, we can see Carol's approaching. So one thing I hope they do like The Ones Who Live and have them reunite pretty quickly. I'm not sure how many episodes are in this one. I don't know if it's 6. Hopefully it's more, because the six episodes are too short for a show like this. But yeah, it looks really cool. And again, I love the European background and how, you know, the terrain is different. There are a lot of hills, or a lot of narrow passages in between the different buildings and stuff. So it looks amazing. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. And with the clip, the preview, we see Laurent. Okay, so as we know, at the end of last season, when Daryl is about to go on that ship to go to Newfoundland, I think, to get to North America, and to get to Virginia, Laurent is there on the hilltop. And then we see Daryl goes and he saves him from a bunch of walkers. And this boy, how did he get there safely? And why is he out? And why is nobody watching him? Because when Daryl goes back to the castle, and Lo Sang, I believe his name is, says that, you know, this boy shouldn't be taught violence, killing walkers. It's like, you know what? This boy should be watched and not allowed to go traipse off by himself. Like, is he Carl 2.0? Like, come on, somebody needs to watch him if he's going to be this deity, basically, who can't defend himself. So that was a bit annoying. And that guy, he annoyed me last year too, because again, he kept on telling Daryl to stay. It's like, Daryl has plans, respect the man. We find out that Emile and Falou have been captured, and Sylvie, the young lady, she's obviously very upset because Emile is her little boyfriend, and plus they cared for she and the gang. And so they are going to, I guess, try to rescue them, but of course Madame Genet, I believe her name is pretty ruthless, so they need to plan a proper attack or proper plan to get them, basically. We see Carol in a clip that I'm pretty sure I've seen before, but anyway, she, you know, at the end of last year, she got Daryl's bike, and then she goes back to the yard where Daryl was taken from, and she, you know, she asks some questions. And eventually she gets a jump. This one lady gets a jump on about 5 different guys. And they reveal that he's been taken to France. And of course she thinks they're joking. But they're like, no, they're looking for American walkers over in France. And he got shipped on a boat, basically. And so she steals one of their cars, goes to the area where the shipyard is, tells them, oh, your friend is in a trunk, you know, that away. And she goes off to attempt to get Daryl. So one thing, I love Carol, but sometimes I do think they make her a bit of a superhero, where like this one person, this one woman can overtake a whole set of guys, and it's not because she's a woman. I would never say that. It's because she's one person. Like, if she had a couple of people, it would make more sense to me that she was able to outsmart all of them. But you know what? Again, I will put that aside because I do want to see them reconnected. Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, is coming out in like 2 months basically. So I will be reviewing those. I'm very much looking forward to it. Again, Daryl is one of my faves. Carol is one of my faves as well. I don't know, I will watch Dead City. We'll see if I'll do reviews on them because I'm not that keen on it, but I did see pictures of Lauren Cohan and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I think at SDCC, and they looked so good. But yeah, so, you know, I love, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a great presence on screen, so, you know, we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching me here on I See Melanie. I'll be back with more videos. And like, share, subscribe, all those things, and I'll see you later. Bye.